All right, welcome back to College Football Addiction. We've got a bowl game this week between Miami and Iowa State in the Pop-Tart Bowl here in Orlando, Florida. Gabby, how you doing, man?
Doing well, TJ. Wish we were talking about something other than the Pop-Tarts Bowl, but we're here, man. Here for it.
Listen, past all, I asked I talked to an Iowa State guy too. Past all the jokes about the Pop-Tart Bowl, all this stuff, I actually do like. Do you have a favorite Pop-Tart flavor? I know this is the hard-hitting analysis people really
Right,
tune in
right,
for, but I
for
actually do
sure.
like Pop-Tarts. I'm a huge s'mores fan.
Yeah, so I'm like OG kind of just strawberry Pop-Tarts guy. I'm not like a huge Pop-Tarts guy. Like I probably couldn't tell you last time I had a Pop-Tart, but I think just the OG classic strawberry is probably where I'd go if I was grabbing one at the store. Which I feel like tomorrow, maybe on game day, I feel like maybe got to get into the spirit a little bit. Maybe I'll pop in, grab a box of the strawberry Pop-Tart, and maybe that'll be the breakfast for the fam.
Don't It's dangerous. A few years ago we played in the Frosted Flakes Bowl and I
Oh
bought
yeah.
Frosted Flakes and we lost. So maybe wait till
Oof.
after the game. Get it for
That's
like a
right. Maybe
celebration
maybe yeah,
thing.
it could be like a celebratory Pop
Don't get
Tart
it
or something like
before.
that.
It's a bad
That's
omen.
right. That's probably a good call. That's probably a good call.
Cam Ward playing in this game is really
Yeah.
impressive to me, and not just him, but a lot of the team opted in, and then on the other side of the country too. Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders playing
Yep.
in their bowl games seems to be more of a trend after obviously what happened last year with a ton of opt outs in a lot of games,
Right.
but one big one down in Miami. Just the decision for Cam Ward to come back. Do you feel like it's just hey, bad taste in my mouth on the way the season ended? Like we're going to prove you guys wrong and prove that we really did maybe belong, or that we're not going to go out like the way that the Syracuse game ended.
Yeah, I think it's probably a bit of that, right? I think that they anticipated playing, deeper into December and into January. I think they were hoping their season obviously went out longer than it did. But yeah, I think that this is kind. I mean, if you kind of know Cam, been around Cam, like it's not super surprising to me because I feel like this is kind of the dude that he is, right? Like I feel like he's kind of cut from this cloth. He was kind of the underdog his whole life. He wasn't a big time recruit out of high school. He signed with Incarnate Word. Had to kind of grind it out there before going to Washington State, where again he wasn't highly recruited as a portal quarterback originally. Goes over there, starts doing a lot of great things, comes down to Miami and kind of emerges as kind of like the top dog, right? But I think he very much has a kind of underdog mindset. So I don't think to me it's not super surprising to watch him play. And look, I don't really know how. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I don't know this. Like I'm not like reporting this or anything like that. But like let's see how much like, he does actually play. I expect him to play. How much he plays, I think, is maybe to be determined. But I think the fact that he's suiting up and all that stuff, again, I think it's just a testament to just, again, I think who he is. I do think it's a testament to kind of like the culture they're building in Miami as far as just like finishing what you start. A lot of guys are playing. It's not just Cam Ward. Like really,
No.
like a majority of them are playing. If not, I mean, not all of them, but close to all of them are playing. And look, Miami still has something to kind of play for. They would win 11 games for the first time since 2003. So that would be a big accomplishment, and I think that's something that Mario Cristobal and that staff are definitely pounding the table about is getting to that 11 win mark and just continue to show that they're on the proper trajectory after again a disappointing December where they didn't accomplish what they had the ability to accomplish.
Outside of Cam, you mentioned not just Cam, but a lot of guys, that are going to go to the next level still opting in and playing this game. How many guys did they lose to the portal that are like impact guys that will kind of make a difference, or their absence will make a difference here in this game?
I think in this game specifically, I would probably just say one, and that's Isaiah Horton, the wide receiver who transferred to Alabama. They lost a tight end in Riley Williams, who's kind of like their tight end too. But Miami's top tight end is playing, so I don't know if that's like a significant loss or anything that's like would be like just like would swing this game one way or the other. So I think the only loss that you can kind of look at and be like, oh dang, like that's that's kind of a big one is Isaiah Horton. But again, he was also Miami's third wide receiver. I think why it's a bigger loss too is because Xavier Estrepo, Miami's star slot receiver, is not going to play, or at least that's my understanding is he's not going to play. So you really got one of your top, I guess two of your top five pass catchers that are playing this game with Jacoby George and Elijah Arroyo. But you got some young guys like JoJo Trader who they're excited to get on the field. Nye Carr is another one that they're really excited to kind of get on the field as well. So both those guys will get plenty of burn. But again, I think for the most part, this is going to be a pretty close to 100% of what Miami's team was. I guess like 90% without those guys.
Um, Iowa State has the 38th ranked offense according to FPI, which I don't necessarily think is the end all be all, but kind of opponent adjusted. Do you think that their offense being ranked fairly well, like top third of college football or so, it kind of confuses me why the spread is so close in this game. I'm not trying to ask you to figure out Vegas because very few
Right.
can do that, but it's a little like I'll we usually do predictions at the end. I think Miami wins this and covers as long as Cam plays a majority and they don't just something crazy happens or whatever. But I feel like Miami to win going away. I just think it's a tough matchup for a Big 12 team that was kind of up and down this year. But do you think that just the concern around Miami's defense or the confidence in Miami's defense over the last month or so is why the spread is as close as it is?
Yeah, again, I don't really. I'm kind of with you, right? Like, I think just on paper, I think Miami's the better team here, right? Like, I think Miami's offense there's a lot of firepower there still, regardless of some of those guys opting out, and again, Big 12 defense that kind of got crushed in their conference title game, but credit to them for getting there. So, I mean, that's obviously a big accomplishment. I know they've lost some pieces to the transfer portal as well, but yeah, I mean, I think what they do on offense and what Miami is on defense, I think is probably giving maybe Vegas odds makers some pause. And then at the end of the day, Miami hasn't been very good in bowl games over the past 15 years or so. So I also get why maybe some would be skeptical about Miami's odds in a game like this. But yeah, look, I think that this is a good matchup for Miami. I think that this is a great opportunity for them to kind of just continue to kind of do what they want to do and maybe hopefully play a cleaner game on defense as look, Iowa State's got some dudes, right? Like Jaden Higgins is from right down the road. Here in Miami, played at Westminster Christian, which is again not far from where we're at right now. And he's a big talented playmaker for them on the outside, and they got a couple guys who can make plays, and a veteran quarterback in Rocco Beck. So they definitely have some pieces too that are going to challenge Miami's defense, and especially that secondary, which we saw was very, very vulnerable over the course of that 2024 season. So I'm curious to see how the matchup goes, man. Like again, I haven't really I haven't. I'm not fully invested in this Pop-Tarts Bowl, right? Like again, I think that there's I think the disappointment's still kind of there at my tongue a little bit. But look, I think that Miami should win this game. And again, this is a great opportunity for them to hit that 11 win mark.
You mentioned that, and that was going to be my next question. The disappointment's certainly there in the fan base. Obviously the expectations were there. If some things kind of break differently toward the end of the year, I mean, they missed the ACC championship on a tiebreaker, right? Like the fifth tiebreaker
Right.
in the ACC. It wasn't just like an obvious, head to head or something.
Right.
So they were right there and didn't make it. Now, that probably falls at their feet for losing a couple of games in December. But
Right.
I wonder if the mood, how motivated do you think the team is? Sometimes when we see these big time programs play against, no offense to Iowa State, but a team from Ames, Iowa, getting to play this all time program, it's top 15, 20 program of all time. Do you think the motivation factor is Iowa State more motivated to go out and play in this game to slay the giant or whatever you would call it, or what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out, right? Like, I think we'll definitely find out how, at least from a Miami standpoint, how motivated they are. But look, again, I think the fact that these guys are playing again, if there's no motivation, what are these guys suiting up for, right? Like, are they suiting up to, for again, is it an NIL related thing, like to make sure that they kind of finish out the course of their contract? Again, like, I don't think that that's the primary reason why these guys are playing. I definitely think that there's some motivation, and again, I do think that there's something to the fact that they want to finish kind of what they started. And again, it didn't end the way that they wanted it to, but I think there's just something about finishing. And I think that's something that, again, kind of comes from the top as far as just like a culture and a standard that's kind of being established, which again, I think is kind of different than what we've seen in past years. And again, and the fact that we're seeing Miami kind of do what it is that they're doing as far as all of these draft eligible guys playing, again, I think it is a tell of where the kind of buy-in that's in the building. Because if everyone was just kind of like, all right, this sucks, we missed out on the AC championship game, we're not playing in the playoff. Like, look, honestly, truthfully, from my perspective, I wouldn't have been mad at anyone for just being like, all right, you know what, draft prep time, especially a guy like Cam Ward or Elijah Arroyo, who made himself a ton of money already this season, doesn't have to prove another thing. He could easily be a day two guy at tight end. He's been awesome. And Damien Martinez and a bunch of these other dudes who have a chance to get drafted. Like, why play in this game, right? Like, I think that that's just like the obvious kind of question. Like, there's just no reason to risk it. So I think the fact that these guys are playing, I think tells you that they are motivated. And so I'm hoping that we see a strong performance from Miami. Again, I think that there's something to winning these types of games. I think it kind of sets the tone going into the off season. Again, and I think, look, Miami definitely wants, they feel like they've definitely made those improvements, and getting this one last win against, again, a team that contended for a Power Four conference championship, again, I think would just be the right way to kind of send this thing into, the off season.
Do you have a score prediction for this one?
Yeah, I mean, just ballpark it. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'd probably go something like 40-30 or something like 42-30 Miami. Again, I think three. I think Miami will probably cover the spread. I expect Iowa State to score because everyone's kind of scoring on Miami. We'll see if they've had any time or again motivation to fix this defense. Obviously addressing things in the transfer portal back there, but. Yeah, I mean, I think Miami probably wins by. I would say maybe give them a touchdown, 10 points. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something around that outcome.
Yeah, I like it. I like the over too. I like a lot of points in this game, and hopefully
Yeah,
one of the more fun games of
for
bowl
sure.
season.
It
Gabby,
seems
where
like
can
it's gonna
you?
be one of the more fun ones, right?
It does. It does. There's another one right after it too. BYU Colorado. That should be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Actually, Saturday should be a bunch of really good games.
yeah.
So,
I feel like there's
and
a lot of games.
don't. I know you're trying to be nice and stuff, but not everyone scored on Miami this year. So
Right.
there was one team that struggled too. But anyway, Gabby, where can people follow you? Where can they find your work?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, X at GabbyUrudia247, and all of our work at InsideTheU.com. So feel free to check us out there, man.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Good luck tomorrow.
All right.